This is such bullshit. I've never been so pissed in my whole life. And this murder Charlie Kirk right here in Utah. I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit. I just saw blood squirting out of his neck. I love that guy. He would have been our next president. I am so pissed right now. Why do they always come with fucking violence? Gosh damn it. Use your freaking words. Use their tongue in you people. Who shot Charlie Kirk? I'm driving down a Provo right now. I'm so pissed. Damn it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about this crazy situation. Now I want to give credit to the original creators of the clips in this video, and of course thank you guys for always supporting the channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe and join the conversation in the comments, because I really want to hear what you have to say about this.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational.
Well, there you have it. Charlie Kirk has passed away at the age of 32. I thought he was going to make it. I really did. But now that he is gone, the only people I feel bad about is his two little girls. Everybody else I really don't have any empathy for, but his two baby girls are going to grow up without a father. And that is the only thing I care about. Now, Charlie Kirk is about to be a martyr. And if the person that did take his life is on the left side, all hell is about to break loose. So what I'm going to say, anybody that is an influencer on the left, if you got something, hold that bitch tight, okay? Watch your surroundings and keep your head on a swivel, because if you don't, we already know. That side is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and they will not think twice. And Charlie Kirk was an influencer. He was a major influencer for the right. So, that's all I got.
We all saw the same video. They straight JFK'd his shit. Bah, that was crazy. But my thing is, the white on white violence in this country, y'all, astronomical. That's really what we got to talk about, because I thought come January 20th of this year, we were supposed to be a country of law and order. And in Utah, of all places, that's crazy, y'all. Thoughts and tariffs. But I just want to understand, right? Why are people celebrating this? That's crazy. I mean, he did say a couple of pew-pew deaths a year is integral to keeping our Second Amendment. But political violence is never the answer, guys. It's not okay. I'm a civilian. I have nothing to do with this. These are just my thoughts. I just want to understand, right? It's kind of crazy, don't you think? I just wonder, too, like, when you say things like Islam is incompatible with the West, or like when you talk about black people or immigrants and stuff like that, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? You have freedom of speech, but I don't know, right? Once again, I'm a civilian. I got nothing to do with this. Anyways, what y'all want for Popeyes? I'm thinking like a 2-piece chicken dinner, and maybe leg and thigh, extra spicy, extra crispy, with some Cajun fries and a biscuit on the side, and some sweet heat, and like a strawberry Fanta, because you know you can't go to Popeyes and not get a strawberry Fanta.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage, but
I'm supposed to have empathy for a motherfucker that doesn't believe in it. I'm supposed to have empathy for a person that demonized my people, a person who watched a black man get his neck kneeled down for 9 minutes. He had a daughter. But do you know what that man said about that man after he was deceased? And I'm supposed to have some empathy? You're telling me that my morals are compromised because I don't have empathy for a man who doesn't view me as an equal human being to him? A man that does not have sympathy for children being mowed down in schools, a man that does not have any sympathy for the women that are losing their reproductive health care and are set to lose more of their reproductive health care. This man literally said that he would force his daughter to have her rapist child, and I'm supposed to have some empathy that this man got taken down while spewing some more hateful rhetoric. Seriously? You can be against gun violence, right? You can acknowledge that no human being deserves to have their life taken away. Nobody does. But at the same time, stop telling people who are affected by the rhetoric that these people spew and individuals, because now that a lot of people who are saying that you should have some empathy, now there's finally somebody that looks like them that has been a victim of this. I've been having to watch my people get killed on camera as long as I can remember. Stop telling us to have empathy for a person that does not have empathy for us. That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Let me be very clear. What happened to Charlie is not okay, and nobody deserves that. That said, he did say this. That was in 2023. That was after Sandy Hook and Uvalde and the Pulse nightclub in Las Vegas. So what happened to Charlie is a product of the system he advocated for. That's it.
I just looked him up. I get why people are mad. Respectfully so. This nigga was saying some crazy ass shit. I'ma say RIP just off the fact that he had kids and was a husband. From what I can tell, based off what I seen when I looked him up, he was involved heavily in politics. I don't think that's a reason to assassinate a nigga though. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's mad crazy. Especially he had kids and he was a husband. Regardless of the fact, words are powerful, bro. I'll be forgetting words are very powerful, bro. From the little things you say to the big things you say, bro. Gotta be careful with what you say. Words have consequences. Regardless if it's your opinion and certain shit like that, you gotta be careful who you're speaking to, who you're speaking about. No way, shape, or form am I saying, well, nah, he deserved that because y'all did. I don't know, I don't care. But that video was crazy. That nigga walked him down. Paw walked him down. Straight through the neck. That nigga did not miss. Didn't even get away. That nigga was so old. He wasn't running nowhere. He got put down by Larry King. Jerry the King Lawler. Got put down by Jerry Springer. You gotta ask for a higher up for another chance, bro. I'd be damned if the Scrooge put me down. Crazy as hell.
I can't stand Charlie Kirk. Having said that, he still had freedom of speech. Nobody there was forced to listen to him. Everyone that was there chose to be, and that's fine. This wasn't really a case of having something shoved down your throat. These people weren't captives. So when we think about it, we need to keep that in mind. I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for those kids who had to witness it. He spewed some very, very bad stuff. And everybody that goes out and does speeches and talks like Charlie Kirk does also know that there's a risk to their safety. And it doesn't matter which side you're on. Having said that, I reserve my hatred for one specific person, but it's not Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk had no sympathy for the kids in Gaza. Charlie Kirk had no sympathy for inhumanely locking up my people in cages. Charlie Kirk had no sympathy for women, saying that if his daughter were to get sexually assaulted, he would force her to keep the kid. He spread and planted ideas of racism, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and anti-LGBTQ. However, no one should die at the hands of another man, and unfortunately, that's what happened with Charlie Kirk. He was shot and killed on live TV, 4K, in front of his 2 daughters and his wife. Deepest and dearest of condolences truly to his loved ones, and especially to his wife who had to watch that live. But people need to stop acting like he was some hero and like he wasn't spreading hate and division amongst our country for years. I'm going to say this again. No one deserves to go out like he did. No one deserves to die at the hand of another man. But when you are truly only planting weeds in this beautiful garden that we call Earth, you cannot expect flowers to grow. And to all of you who are celebrating his death, there's never a reason to celebrate death.
Okay, so the conservatives who are saying nobody should get shot for their beliefs, like, we can see that you're scared of people like coming for you because of your beliefs. I'm so sorry. The shit you guys push and endorse kills people, ruins people's lives. This is the result of the shit you say. I don't give a fuck what people do to you because of the shitty stuff that you say, believe, and push. If you don't like it, that's tough. I don't give a fuck. We can tell you're scared. And you know what? You should be.
His wife and children were in attendance, dude. Imagine, imagine being a 12-year-old, watching your dad fucking die. Nobody deserves that. Not even Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk was shot and unalive today.
What happened?
He was debating at a college campus under a tent that said "prove me wrong" and was surrounded by thousands of students. Students signed a petition before he arrived to ban him from the campus, but the college allowed him there anyway under the First Amendment. So resentment started to grow on the campus, and Charlie began throwing hats and riling everyone out. As he was answering their questions, a loud noise was heard, and then Charlie seemed to instantly react. Then people started screaming and running.
That's unfortunate. Do they know who did it?
They took 2 people into custody. However, so far there's no leads. However, one man who was arrested seemed to be an older gentleman with glasses. Charlie was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. But now people are sharing a video on the internet from 2023 of Charlie Kirk saying, "We need to be clear, you're not going to get 0 gun deaths." He stated that gun deaths are necessary and that he's okay with that. He said, "I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every year so we can have our Second Amendment right to protect our other God-given rights." He followed up with, "That is prudent and rational. If you don't agree, you live in an alternate universe."
Disagreements aside, what was he known for?
He was known for debating college students on controversial topics such as rainbow rights, women's rights, discrimination, and supported Trump since 2012. He put out a post saying, "My sympathies go out to Charlie Kirk," and it ended there. It's important to state that a very large number of people disagreed with Charlie Kirk. Seconds before the incident, he happened to be discussing the Minnesota shooter. But people believe the shooter may have had a bad motive for what they did today.
That's still not a reason for political violence to be okay. My thoughts and prayers, and hopefully we can return to a civilized society where we take care of each other and not hurt each other.
So I believe there's only one appropriate response as it relates to Charlie Kirk and what happened today. Because I've seen a lot of responses. People are like, "Oh my gosh, it's so sad." Like, is it though? You know, before all of you get on me and you're like, "Oh my gosh, he's advocating." I'm not advocating for anything. I want that to be known right now. I'm not advocating for what happened to Charlie Kirk to happen to anyone. With that being said, it's kind of really crazy to watch you guys kind of fawn over and try to be like, "Oh, RMP, and he's still a human," to like a raging white supremacist. And not just a raging white supremacist. He's also an Islamophobe. He's also a proud Zionist, according to him. He once looked a gun rights victim in the face and basically told them like that's the cost of freedom. The list just goes on. He called, like, you know, African subhumans. He said that people who don't or can't afford health insurance basically deserve to get, like, you know, not alive. He called George Floyd a scumbag. He went on a critical racism tour and he put an E in front of that to try to make it be like, "Oh, it's not the liberal media." Like, you know, and then he would try to deny the claims of white supremacy, but that was his target audience. So it's wild to me for you guys to be like, "Well, he has a daughter and a wife and he's a human." And if like the only thing that you guys can say is the fact that he managed to get someone pregnant is like the reason why he is a decent human being is insane to me. With that being said, again, I'm not advocating for anything that did or did not happen to Charlie Kirk today. But I can say for his time down here, he was a very morally reprehensible human being. And it's crazy to me how you guys are like all of a sudden trying to be like, "Yeah, but he didn't deserve to go out like this." And I'm not going to argue and be like, "Oh, he didn't deserve to go out like this." I'm not going to even say anything remotely close to that. What I will say is, in Charlie Kirk's last moments, he was talking about gun rights. He was talking about gun victims and trying to do the classic Charlie Kirk where he takes a question that was given to him, switches it over, and then tries to make it into something racist, something inaccurate, or something not true to make it seem like the problem that he was asked about. It's a great way for him to divert away from the actual problem that he was asked about. See, like him and Ben Shapiro, they both did it when they were asked about Jesus and if Jesus would vote for Trump. Ben Shapiro then came back with a retort of like, there's a verse in the Bible. I wanted to talk about it before, where Jesus said, "It is easier for a camel to pass through an eye of a needle than a rich man to make it to heaven." And the verse is in reference to a rich man coming to Jesus and asking him if he could follow him. And Jesus said, "If you want to follow me, you have to give away all your worldly possessions, take up my cross, and follow me." Ben Shapiro then took that and said, "No, that verse isn't about, you know, being rich and being rich is a sin. It's about temptation." That verse is not about temptation. That verse is very clearly laid out to you what it's about. It's hard to be rich and follow God. And you know how mad you have to make me for me to preach? Jesus is saying either you love me or you love the world and you love your worldly possessions. And that rich man cried and chose the world and his worldly possessions over following Jesus. It's hard for a rich man to find his way into heaven. And Ben Shapiro took that and said, "No, he's just talking about temptation. He's not talking about rich people. Jesus would be fine with the rich and the ultra rich, even though almost all of his policies go into helping people." Not the point of this. Point being, that's what Charlie Kirk did. And then, while talking about gun violence, he got shot. Charlie Kirk also said that he has no empathy and views empathy as a sickness. So for all you giving him empathy, he would view you as a sickness. His words. This isn't a tit for tat thing. This isn't an I got you moment. Yeah, someone is dead. That is sad that someone is dead. Even if that person is extremely morally reprehensible and a vile human being for the time that they were down here. His death, because I am Christian, does absolve him from sin in the next eternal plane. One of the problems is, though, I have to deal with all the ramifications for all the hate he spewed, for all the Islamophobia that he spewed. Charlie Kirk spent his entire life trying to profit off of dividing people and attacking marginalized groups because it was easy. Charlie Kirk and people like him led to the rise in white nationalism that we have in this country. Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owen, all these people who are directly tied to MAGA. And, you know, there's this really fun quote that just because you are racist does not mean you vote Republican. But chances are, if you are a racist, you vote Republican. And I'm trying to keep this as PG as possible because unlike Charlie Kirk, I actually had to face ramifications for the words that I say and the actions that I do take. Charlie Kirk has never had any of the ramifications for the obnoxiously horrible stuff that he's done and said to people during his tenure in the political sphere. Charlie Kirk was truly one of the worst of us. If the aliens came and you put Charlie Kirk in front of him, they would probably destroy our planet. That's not an exaggeration. That's not me trying to be funny. Because it's like, you guys clearly did not follow this man or pay attention to the vile and horrible things that he said. But yes, someone is dead. And that in itself does suck. I could be petty and say thoughts and prayers. I could use Charlie Kirk's own words and say that this is just a natural... And this is not me being petty or being snide saying this. This is the person that he was. I could say that this is a necessary consequence for us to be able to preserve our freedoms and have gun rights. So to watch his crowd or watch anyone try to say different or have empathy or do things that are directly contradictory to the life that he lived is insanity to me. Watching you guys mourn a all-out white supremacist just for the fact that they had a heartbeat and managed to get someone pregnant is insane to me. Yes, death does absolve you of sin. And I did say a prayer for him. I said a prayer for his family because I'm a decent Christian. But that does not mean I'm going to go out and mourn Charlie Kirk. None of you should be mourning Charlie Kirk. Is it sad that it happened? Yeah. But you know what's also sad? 40 minutes after that, there was a mass shooting in Colorado in which 3 kids are now in currently critical condition. You want to be sad about something? Be sad about that. Be sad about the lack of gun reform. But you can't point to Charlie Kirk and be like, look, there's a lack of gun reform when he was the main one pushing for a lack of gun reform. It's one of his main hills that he stood on. Being sad that someone succumbed to gun violence when the main thing that they were preaching is the fact that there is no gun violence in this country and it's not actually a problem, and that guns aren't the problem, that people are the problem, and that we don't need any gun reform or gun change or gun restrictions in this country, and then them succumbing to a gun, especially being their final moments, is incredibly ironic. And I'm not saying that from a lack of empathy. I'm not saying that from a lack of standpoint. It's just, it is what it is. That's what happened. Say a prayer for his family. Say a prayer for his friends. But do not take up his torch. It's a horrible torch to take up. Do not advocate for him. In fact, Nick Fuentes is like, someone posted on my Instagram, not a shout out to them or anything. They posted Nick Fuentes' reaction. And I was like, do you know Nick Fuentes is a raging white supremacist? And they're like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, that's the kind of crowd that Charlie Kirk attracts. They've talked before, him and Nick Fuentes. Or however you pronounce it. Not telling you how to feel. Not telling you how to think. Not advocating for anything. Someone did die today, and that is truly sad. But to make fun of people or try to bash people who are happy that someone who was an absolutely horrible human being for the time that he was down here is gone is more insane to me than... I don't even know how to put it into words. It's insane to me that you would rather grieve a white supremacist than be mad at people who are happy that a white supremacist is gone. That's insanity. I'm not going to mourn Charlie Kirk. I'm not going to grieve Charlie Kirk. I said a prayer for his family. I said a prayer for his friends. That is the most that he gets, and that's because I'm a good Christian. I'll say decent. We should not be grieving white supremacists. We should definitely find gun violence unacceptable in our country. It is sad that a human died. I wouldn't say advocate for it. at all what happened. But I'm not bashing or being mad at someone who is. Charlie Kirk was horrible for the time he was here and spent all of his time trying to divide us and be a horrible human being to make a profit off of that. I'm not going to sit here and pout for white supremacists. As a Christian, I am sad that he died, and it does suck that he died. Prayers for him, his family, his friends, those close to him. And that's not even in a petty way, like I could be. I truly wish nothing but the best for you, your family, your friends, and I hope all of you stay safe. Yes, gun violence is a problem in this country. I could be petty and say people like him encouraged it, but I don't want the final moments that I'm on with you to go toward that. Hope nothing but the best for all of you. Don't be mad at people for how they feel. Be mad at the things that they said when they were here. Be mad at the fact that this keeps happening in our country. Be mad at the fact that we have so many school shootings in general. Good luck, everyone, and have a great night.
So the news just broke that Charlie Kirk was shot and killed, and the reactions online have been all over the place. A lot of white conservatives are devastated, while many black people and other communities honestly don't feel the same sense of loss, right? And that's because Charlie Kirk was a really controversial figure. He once said that gun deaths were a necessary price for the First Amendment, and now people are calling it karma that he died the very same way that he dismissed. But here's the thing, no matter how bad someone is or what they've done, watching a person lose their life and for it to happen publicly in front of their wife and kids, that's something nobody should have to experience. I'm just here to share the news, not to push an agenda. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but please keep it respectful in the comments. Disclaimer, this video is for educational and commentary purposes only, and all credit goes to the original creators of the clips used. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.